Webflow seems to be doing the right thing and listening to us designers to be able to make their platform even better. What's going on, guys? My name is Leopoldo Perella and I do videos about web design, UX design and the overall design process. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 reasons or 4 reasons why you should choose Webflow to do your next website. So if you're interested in finding out, stay tuned. As a web designer, I have always looked for different platforms and content management systems that allow me to take my designs into making them into an actual website. But even with WordPress that has so many powerful tools and plugins and themes and whatnot, it is sometimes difficult to create that design that we have created into a live website. With Webflow, a lot of this has been fixed, and the reason for it though is that Webflow is sort of like a visual web development tool that allows designers to be able to manipulate code, manipulate everything without actually knowing how to code. And this is one of the reasons why Webflow right now is exploding in the design community and why so many designers are choosing Webflow over anything else. So now let's talk a little bit about some of the reasons why I would recommend you choosing Webflow and some of the scenarios that may lead you to choosing Webflow over WordPress, Wix, or any other platform out there. So the first one is, let's say you are a web designer and you want to take full control of your design project, from the design of the project to the development of the project, then Webflow will be the right platform for you. And the reason for it is that it allows you with the dashboard and everything that it gives you, it gives you the ability to be able to recreate that design with actual code without you having to figure out how to do some HTML, CSS or JavaScript. One of the things though is that you will notice with Webflow is that your learning curve may be a bit deep or steep. The reason for it though is that because you do have to have a little bit of understanding of basic CSS like padding, margins, font size, all those different things that will affect a website or even something as a structure in your website. But once you're able to figure this out, which I'm sure it won't take you long, then you're going to be able to create the right designs, the designs that look just like the designs you created into a live website. And also if you're using something like, let's say, Adobe XD or Figma to create these designs, you're going to be able to see the code that you need to have also on Webflow. So if you're working with padding, you're working with margins, or you're working with any different elements that you may have to have on your website, you're going to be able to match it with, once you look into your Adobe XD code or when you look into Figma code, you're going to be able to make sure that you have the same numbers, the same pattern, the same margins, everything in Webflow. The other reason for it that I would recommend choosing Webflow over WordPress is if you have a custom design. And a custom design means something that you design from scratch, something that you built from wireframes, then you went into your stylescape, then you went into the design, and then you went through revisions with your client or for yourself or for your employer. And now you have something that's ready, but now you need to recreate this full design into a live website. This can also be something, let's say that you have a startup idea of a web application. Now you want to test this application. You have created the entire design, but instead of going to spend a lot of money trying to develop the back end on something that you do not need yet, you can use Webflow to recreate this design and test it to make sure that everything works and people can interact with your design. The next reason that I will choose Webflow is because as we get more into the design and we learn to design better websites, we are going to start getting some very complex websites. And this might not just be layouts, but this might be like animations and the flow of the website and the way things appear on the website, the different when someone scrolls through somewhere on the website, the cursor will be different, the way that the photos will pop, different videos on the background and whatnot. As your designs get more complex, you are going to need to have something that allows you or gives you the ability to be able to develop these designs without making a website that is very heavy, which is most of the case what happens with WordPress. And two, you want to be able to create something that once you create it as a designer or as a developer and you hand it over to a client, they can also interact with that website without breaking it. And most of the time, once you see someone interacting with WordPress websites, you will see how difficult it is for clients to be able to change something, because they have to go through different forms and different things to be able to edit something very simple like a headline. But with Webflow, you can make sure that you can implement that complex design that you have designed into an actual website without worrying about your clients or anybody ever coming to the website to edit something and do something wrong with it, with the code you created. Of time in design, we spend time in making sure that the user experience of the website is done correctly. We spend time, choosing colors, editing layouts, making sure that the layout flow, and making sure everything is going to be really good. And normally, because of this, once we're finished with the design and we hand it over maybe to a developer, or we go over to WordPress or any other platform to develop the website, the development takes too long. And one of the things that you want to do, especially now in 2020 and going forward, is that you do want to spend more time on designing the right tools, designing the right layout, designing the right look to your website and feel to your website, so your users can use the website properly and it's a website that adapts to them, instead of spending a lot of time developing a website that maybe you might take 3 months to develop the website, and then when you launch it, it doesn't work anymore, or the users are not willing to or don't know how to use the website and are finding things complicated. So with using Webflow, you can pretty much cut down your development time in half, and this might vary depending on the type of project that you're working on. There are some projects that will take longer, shorter, and it also will depend on you as a designer or you as a developer, depending on the skill levels that you have. But for most of the time, a simple website, you most likely are going to be able to cut this in half and concentrate, let's say 80% of the time on your design, ensuring this is done properly, and then just about 20% of your time on the actual development of the website. And then the last one I have here is a little bit about the CMS, and this is a content management system that Webflow has. There are a lot of the times when we want to do something with WordPress, like a CMS option for our clients, something as simple as creating our own testimonial layout, for example. It will be quite difficult with WordPress because you do have to learn PHP, and then the other way to do this is to find a plugin that already exists, but then you have to dive into the code of the plugin to be able to customize it to fit your way, or the way you need it to be. With Webflow, their CMS platform is so simple to create that you can create pretty much a CMS option or entry for almost anything that you have in mind. This can be for, let's talk about a restaurant, it can be for restaurant menu, something that your clients can just come into the Webflow CMS and be able to create another option, and it adds to the website. It can be, let's say you rent vehicles, you can do it right there. Let's say you sell different products or services. It's very easy for you to showcase your products, or even something as simple as adding testimonials, so adding your new team members to your website. It'll be quite easy for you to be able to do this with their CMS. Now, there are a couple things that if you have never tried Webflow, that you should get started with. And the first one is that Webflow is completely free to give it a try. So one of the things, if you have never tried Webflow, what I would recommend is to look for a website that you really like, and then try to make it. Try to build it with Webflow. Just give it a I think you can have like a 1-page or 2-page website that's completely free. You might not be able to export the code or anything like that, but it will give you the experience that you need to be able to see how everything works on Webflow. The other way that you can get started with Webflow is to try with your own website. That's sort of how I got started with Webflow. I have designed our website with Webflow, and this way I was able to create everything that I needed to know for a basic website. And then as I learned more about it, I was able to create a more complex design, which eventually I was able to also develop within Webflow. So these are two ways for you to get started. And if you want to learn more about it, of the platform, you have Webflow University, which is a really good place to get started with Webflow. I think there's a channel on YouTube named Pixel Geek who I think he does like live videos, and he's always posting different ways. And of course, you have Ran Segal, who has an entire course about Webflow, on how to get started with Webflow, and how to build quite complex designs with Webflow. So pretty much what I'm saying is that with Webflow, your opportunities and your abilities to do things as designers are pretty much as anything that you can think about, you are going to be able to do it. There will be a couple things that you might find it difficult. So what I would recommend is, before you get into a project, just like how you would do with WordPress, do some research on the different tools that you're going to need. Are you going to need third-party plugins for your website to be able to run? Let's say you're doing a member type of website, membership type of website, you are going to need third parties, whether you are on WordPress or Webflow. So just do your research, and once you're 100% sure that you're going to be able to have all the tools you need, then go ahead and dive into Webflow. I hope you found this content helpful, and make sure to hit the bell button and the subscribe button so you can get a notification anytime I post another video, and I will see you again in the next video.